Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models, and this is another episode of modifying the T800 Terminator from Hachette Pot Works. This is for issues 4, 5 and 6. The last 3 issues that I received. Previously, last time on, we've done things like paddle lining, adding detail to the parts, and the piston that we received first time had nasty sort of score marks down the side where they'd been building it, so that's been polished down and tidied up and made look nicer. This time we've got another piston which also has, I say, rough looking grind marks on there, which don't look great, so I'll be getting rid of those. The piston bit comes out, so we don't need to worry about that bit for now. That's going to be basically with a Dremel, just sort of getting rid of the worst of that, and then various grades of papers and things to tidy it up and make it look nicer. So I'll show you that in a moment. We also have the lower part of the skull and sort of the neck assembly, which, to be honest, I don't think I need to do anything with. The lower jaw attaches about there, and it all looks about right. The sheen and the shine of this isn't as bad as it should be, and it's all going to be sort of internal. It fits sort of inside 3 screw holes there. I expect it certainly looks like it goes that way, and that would make sense. So that I don't think needs anything doing to it. The rod on the middle here is plastic, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. But the main body is metal, so that I'd say doesn't really need anything doing to it. The eyes I might come back to. I've seen some people have done some nice work with black lining, detailing around the silver pieces, so I might come back and do that at a later date. I'm still pondering what to do on that. We also received this time the nose piece, which is plastic and is just glued in place, but is actually again quite a good match for the polishing that I've done on this bit here. So I don't want to try and polish the plastic because I know it's just going to remove the metallic paint, so I don't think I need to do anything with that. The main focus of this video is going to be the lower jaw, which again is metal and is already sort of polished, so it's a little bit grainier, so I need to go over that a little bit with the Brasso and polish that up a bit. I'm not sure about the lower jaw, because obviously if you remember we drilled out the teeth bit there. I don't know if I need to do that on the lower jaw or not. I'm in two minds about that. So it's going to fit together much like that. It might need a little bit, but not very much, so I think I might do a little bit on that. The main focus on this, the teeth obviously need weathering, but the main problem is there's too many teeth. There's actually a central tooth, which isn't the way teeth work, not the way mouths work. I'm happy with the size of them. I don't want to take them down as some people have done. And it does sort of go together because it does join up in there. If I do anything with it, then it will leave gaps like that. So I'm strongly considering leaving the teeth as they are. The problem being, although the drilled pieces don't match up with the teeth exactly, you don't want to have one in the middle, which means if I do drill them out, it's going to look a bit strange. So I'm thinking leaving that as it is. The teeth aren't actually glued in yet, they are just pushed in. So I was, as I say, considering doing things with that. But I think the more I look at it, the more I'm happy with how it is at the moment. Except those teeth are in upside down. Just noticed that now. Let me get those ones out, because they don't line up properly. So I've got those in back to front. So I'll tidy that up. They need, say, painting, weathering, which is the main part of this. So I'll get those out. I'll get this polished up, and then we'll see about everything else. To say I need to Dremel on that. So see you in a moment. Now I've got the Dremel ready. So I'm going to use a rough sort of sanding to tidy up the 2 groove marks on the side there. Then I'll go in and get it even better. So it's going to make some noise, hopefully not too much, and you'll be able to hear me still. And I'll only do a bit before I come back in, but just to give you the idea, it's much the same as I was doing last time anyway. So just sort of lightly, not putting any pressure on. Just to tidy it up a bit and get rid of the worst offenders on it. I am aware that it's putting more on there. It's not exactly polishing, but so it's only the first step. That's breaking it up a bit. Now I'm using a brush polishing end, which will give a completely different finish. And I'm going to go in different directions with this, and that should, hopefully you can see it's bringing out some different textures and finishes to that, to the scratches and the marks. I'm going a little bit wider than the actual marks themselves to sort of blend it into the overall finish of the rest of it. Keeping the tool moving so you're not polishing one flat area. So looks worse now, but that's not the point. Now is not finished. Don't worry that it goes worse to begin with. Once we get the papers on there and start polishing it down even more, it will go away, honest, hopefully, probably. So there we go, so I almost got rid of the original marks, making just my marks in there now. So that's, yeah, there's more marks, but they're all finer. So that's basically all we need to do. Go down each level of paper and grading and sanding, getting finer and finer and finer until we get to a polish. I'm not going to do that all on camera now because it's boring. But yeah, just sandpaper and get that down. I don't think I've got any. No, I've got to dig out my sandpaper anyway. So I'll do that and then show you what we're left with before we get to the final polishing. Well, after using the paper, that's what we're left with. The other side that obviously I haven't done anything with the paper with, so you can see the difference between those. Now this one seems to be a little bit thinner. I can actually see a seam line starting to appear down here as I've been polishing it, so I don't want to go any further than that. It's going to make it look worse. Hopefully the other side won't be so serious as that, although you can never really tell. So I'm going to do the other side and then come back and finish it off with some brass and finish off all of it. But yeah, be wary that it's obviously not very thick, not very solid. If you polish it too much, it will start looking worse. So you've got to find a happy line somewhere. Once it's assembled and weathered, there's going to be some battle damage and things on it as well, so it's not the end of the world, but be careful and don't go too far. Right, next up is Brasso metal polish. It's a, you should pretty seen me use it last time, a wadding material that you just sort of tear off a little bit, keep the rest of it in there. It's sort of impregnated with a polishing compound, so you can see it leaves it looking worse again, but once you polish that off, it'll all start to come to and look good. This is not very abrasive, but a little bit. So again, you still need to be careful with how you use it, because you don't want to remove too much material from what you're dealing with. This piston does seem different to the other one. It's obviously bigger, but it does feel not thinner, but yeah, the plating is not the same material. So be wary if you are planning on modifying these things. Don't expect them to behave exactly the same all the time. It's actually, yeah, coming through brassy coloured much quicker. I'm not putting any pressure on there, so that might need some more weathering to tidy that up, or possibly even some chroming, but that's as good as I'm going to be able to get that without it starting to look off colour. So while I've got this, I'm going to be doing the same with the lower jaw. I've decided not to modify the teeth in any way, just to paint them same as I did the other one, and not to drill out the jaw either, because I don't think that's going to look quite right if I do that. So this needs polishing up. I'm not going to polish into all the grooves and that anyway, a little bit, but not seriously, not deeply. They will be getting their wash of dark. Actually, that one's already got something in there. They've sort of tried to darken it and paint it up a little bit anyway. There's 2 dots on the front there. Again, we'll need the panel lining. So I'm just going to get this polished up and then cleaned up, and we'll see how it looks. And there we have it. That's looking to be a pretty good match for the rest of it, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and glue the teeth back in place, and then we'll see about doing the same washes and weathering on those as we did on the top teeth. So the teeth done with some Nuln Oil and Reikland Flesh Shade, just a little bit, just to bed them in, darken them up a little bit. It's still a bit wet, but they're a pretty good match for the top set that I did a while ago. I can always go back and add more in later once they're all, you know, pretty assembled and together, but I'm pretty happy with how that's coming together. So it won't go together yet because it's still bits missing, but the head is starting to look a little bit scary. One last thing to do on this is the panel line, which I did last time, and obviously I haven't got ready because that would be far too, you know, organised and stuff. So let me grab one out now. What have I got? I've got the grey. I don't want grey, I want black. Black Tamiya panel line accent colour, which is basically a very, very thin enamel paint. And just by touching that there, that fills up that dot. And that one. Don't know how much more I need to do on that. The interior of these is probably going to be sort of shaded a bit. So what I'm going to do is just touch that inside so it gets around the edges of the inside, and then basically brush most of it away from where I can brush it, so it just stays in the recesses and darkens it down a bit, so you can see the difference between the 2 sides, hopefully on camera. It just sort of darkens the shadows a bit without making it too sort of apparent or obvious that anything's really been done to it. So that's too much in there, but that's not a problem because most of it will come back out and it will stay in the recesses where it would in real life, as it were. So that is pretty much it for this this modifications update video. The piston's on and attached and looking alright. So the edges gone a little bit discoloured, but nothing that's not going to show up down the line. These are loose on here because, so they don't fully fill the width. There's a little bit of play and a little bit of give there. I don't know if that's going to need anything like a washer or something put in there until we connect the bottom half of the arm. We just don't know. It might need that movement if the arm turns and twists. So we can always come back and loosen that off and tighten that up if we need to. Don't know exactly where these are going to fit yet either. So again, until we get further in, we don't know exactly what we've got to do. But I'm happy with it. It's coming together. I certainly got say some pieces together, and he's starting to look like a Terminator. So thanks for watching. It will be a few weeks until my next issues arrive. When they do, come back, watch the next video and see what we get next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.